Hi there, Holistretch fam. My name is Frances Eve. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use this little Gua Sha tool in order to release stress from your body, your shoulder, your neck, and your face. When we're stressed out, it affects the wrinkles in our face. Our neck becomes shorter because our shoulders rise up to our ears. So we want to create a nice long appearance and relaxed and confident look. So we're going to go ahead and use the long edge of the Gua Sha tool right on the deltoids. If you don't have one of these things, go grab yourself one. In the description below, have a link to my store. Now, Gua means to scrape and Sha means rash. So if you have a lot of toxins that need to come up to the surface, or you have a lot of really dense fascia, sometimes you'll notice red markings as you're scraping, but you don't want to scrape so that you create red markings. You want to scrape very, very lightly. It's a gentle touch. I like to use a sharper edge on the attachment sites. So you see where the muscles of the deltoid attach to the rotator cuff. Okay, this area right in here is where I like to get in there, and it can be a little crunchy. So again, wide edge for the broad part of the muscle, and then the little sharper edge for the attachment. Then after I've scraped a little while, I take the opposite hand and I palpate the muscle tissue. So right in the back of the shoulder is where most of us get really, really tight. That's around the infraspinatus and the teres minor. So we can take the small edge and scrape in here. Now, it's a little tricky. You need a little bit of flexibility in your shoulder for this one, but if you can get right behind the shoulder, right underneath the scapula, or like around the scapula area, is where you can release a lot of tension. So if you look in the mirror before you practice this Gua Sha routine, you may notice that your shoulders are much higher, and then after you practice that they become lower. So I always like to look at one shoulder at a time and see the difference. We'll take the scraper and work into the teres and infraspinatus, and then palpate squeezies, little squeezies, just softening up the tissue as much as possible. Next, we want to come to the front of the shoulder into the upper pec, and we can take the sharper edge and we just scrape in here. And this is another area that can be very, very tender on a lot of people. This is the attachment of the arm basically to the chest. And so this area is like where we carry a lot of stress, because it's literally anytime we pick something up or lift something, we're using these muscles. So it can be very, very tender. So use the Gua Sha gently in this area. Generally, if an area is really tender, I like to go faster and softer. And then if it's denser, I like to go harder and slower. Making sure that you breathe is very, very important in here. Taking the time to relax your belly and relax your body as you're working. This will just help to continue relaxing the shoulder even more. As you can tell, the left shoulder is already dropped a little bit from the right shoulder. Using the opposite hand to palpate and relax the chest and the pec, I like to take the fingers and work my way into the pectoralis and release the chest a little bit. Next, we'll move on to the other side. So we're going to go ahead and palpate the tops of the shoulder, the trap, the deltoid, and we're going to start just as we did on the other side by using the long edge and scraping the deltoid. Again, this is a nice broad muscle, so you can use the longer edge of the Gua Sha. As I'm scraping, I'm only focusing on the downward motion. And then when I come up, I'm not actually scraping. I'm only scraping on the downward motion. Taking the sharper edge of the tool and breaking apart the attachment sites. This area is where the muscles attach, and sometimes they can be very tender or they can be very tight, and it kind of holds us up and tense. So this is a really nice way to just like relax all the muscles around the area and just drop your shoulders. We'll go ahead and palpate a little bit, and then we'll get into the infraspinatus and teres once we are complete with the top of the shoulder. And how do you know you're complete? Well, I generally like to notice that my shoulders drop, that I feel relaxed. When I palpate, it should feel soft to the touch. If it still feels really tight and tense, then I will just continue gua shaing until it becomes soft. We'll go ahead and scrape the back of the shoulder now. Be mindful of your wrists. I'm not super careful with my wrists in this video, but you might be careful with your wrists if you're doing this on a regular basis because you don't want to overextend your wrists. So be mindful and try to use the whole arm if you can. Like try to just move from the shoulder and the elbow as opposed to the wrist and fingers. We'll go ahead and palpate that, soften the tissue all around that shoulder, behind the shoulder, really getting into the infraspinatus. And then we'll go ahead and work our way to the front once again. So we want to find that area of the pec. Just the outer pectoralis area is where we want to create space with the Gua Sha tool. And we'll go ahead and gently scrape and quickly scrape. So this just helps create momentum, movement, energy into the area. If you're feeling very tired and very stressed out, using these Gua Sha methods literally can re-energize you and save you without the use of caffeine or anything like that. We'll go ahead and take the hand and massage into the area, the front of the shoulder now, into the chest. And notice that when you start to work the shoulders and the shoulders begin to drop, as you can see the right shoulder starting to drop, it releases the neck. And then of course, when your neck releases, then your face looks more relaxed and released. We'll go ahead and take the sharp edge of the gua sha and we'll start to work into the chest. We want to work right underneath the collarbone. This is where we have attachment sites and this is where we have a lot of tension. We'll go ahead and scrape into the pectoralis major and then work our fingers all the way down towards the clavicle and then to the chest cavity as well. Next, we're going to start to work on the neck. So we want to take the long edge of the Gua Sha tool and work our way right under the occiput. So if you feel around the head area, it's basically right underneath the bottom of your head. So like where your atlas is right on the bottom of that, where your occiput, you have occiput on the left and the right. And in these areas is where we have a lot of tension, like so much tension, at least I do. So we're going to take the Gua Sha and just scrape right underneath it. The cool thing is every time I scrape underneath here, I feel kind of like a ticklish sensation. And I love this because I can just feel my energy releasing. I actually hold a lot of energy around the back of my neck with my clients and things like that. And so this is so good when you're carrying other people's energy or just stress, like from being on the computer or looking down at your phone. Taking the opposite hand and squeezing right on the one side of your spine. So we're going to go ahead and take the right hand and squeeze on the left side of the spine all the way up to the head and just make little squeezies. Notice if you have more mobility in your neck after doing this. I definitely had a lot more mobility. Next, we'll move into the sternocleidomastoid. So we're going to take that hand and I'm going to show you just the front of the neck now. We're going to work our way around the sternocleidomastoid, just in the front of it and then also behind it. So just really releasing tension from this area is so helpful in creating calmness and relaxation in the face. Pressing into areas that are tight and tense, and then working on the other side. So we're going to take that long edge again and scrape along the side of the neck on the right side. If it helps you, you could use the same side arm. I like to use the opposite when I can, but sometimes you may want to use the same side. Just do what feels the most comfortable for you. Finding that mobility in the neck on the other side. I generally, when I work on my neck, I feel like this ticklish sensation, and I love it because it feels like I'm releasing so much energy, because actually we carry other people's energy on our shoulders and our neck, and especially when we're receiving so much content every day, all day. I mean, really, it manifests energetically in our neck and shoulders and head too. So we can really release a lot, not just physically with this. Taking the thumb and working the inside of the sternocleidomastoid, and then the fingers and working the outside, and creating mobility. So I like to squeeze a little bit on the side and then turn the neck. And you can feel that the neck becomes looser and more mobile. Really, really good. We're almost done. We're going to work our way into the face just a little bit. So we want to work into the jaw is next. We're just working our way up. I like to take the sharper edge of the Gua Sha after unhinging my jaw. So you want to unhinge the jaw. So just release the jaw open a little bit and then take the Gua Sha and gently scrape in the back of the jaw. Now, jaws are super, super sensitive for a lot of us, especially those of us who grind in our sleep. So be gentle, be mindful. I don't want you scraping the crap out of your jaw. Just like remember to use light pressure. And I like to go very, very quickly and very, very light. As we're working towards the top of the jaw, we can also work the Gua Sha down towards the chin. And you'll notice, probably you'll hear a lot of crunching sounds. That's how that's my experience. And that's just fascia that wants to be released from the jaw, really. And then we're going to go ahead and take the edge of the Gua Sha, the softer edge, and just work our way from the side of the nose down. So basically working into the cheekbone. We carry a lot of tension and stress around the cheek area as well. So when we take that Gua Sha and just very lightly and quickly scrape into the cheekbone and then around the jaw, we can release all the tension really in our face. And the way that lymph flows in our body, it goes into our face. So really like around the eyebrows, the cheekbones, the jaw, down under the chin and into the chest. So you can work the Gua Sha all the way like this, really clearing lymph from the body, releasing your sinuses, moving the Gua Sha from the cheeks all the way down the chin and releasing into the chest. And that is how I use Gua Sha to relax my shoulders, chest, neck, and face. The last thing I like to do is just give my forearms a little scrape, just a real quick release from working. Because if you're doing little squeezies, your forearms are going to get tight. So feel free to release your forearms with the sharper edge of the Gua Sha and shake it out. Thank you guys so much for joining me. It was super fun. I love to make videos to help you feel completely released and relaxed. And I just want you to feel free in your body. And so we can do that through stretching and working out. But also there's this component of self-massage that's so incredibly valuable. And we can do it ourselves at any given point in time. I personally love to use my Gua Sha while I'm driving or stuck in traffic. It makes it so much more pleasant. So thank you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.